We finished part one of Romeo and Juliet Act Two. Now we are on part two of Romeo and Juliet Act Two. We are on page 409 in our textbooks, and it's scene three. Romeo and Juliet have professed their love for each other at Juliet's balcony, and now Romeo is set with the task to go find a way that they can get married that very next day. And he has to do all this before 9 a.m. So, who does he think to go to but his personal priest and his friend, Friar Lawrence? It's like a confidant. If you know anything about priests, you know that you give confession to a priest, and so they end up becoming someone who knows your kind of deepest, darkest secrets. So Friar Lawrence is, we're going to start off by being introduced to Friar Lawrence. He's going to give this really big, long monologue where it's just him on the stage, and he's going to be looking through his basket of plants and herbs and flowers and talking about the fact that some of those flowers have medicinal purposes and so can help you heal. But some of the other flowers or plants and herbs are actually deadly and they're poisonous. So some flowers help you heal, some flowers are poisonous, some plants and herbs are poisonous. So let's listen to Friar Lawrence's monologue. Scene 3, Act 2. Now let's listen to it.
The grey-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and flecked darkness like a drunkard reels from forth day's path and Titan's fiery wheels. Now ere the sun advances, burning eye, the day to cheer and night's dank dew to dry, I must upfill this osier cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying grave? That is her womb, and from her womb children of divers kind we, sucking on her natural bosom, find. Many, for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For naught so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give, nor aught so good, but strained from that fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. Virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. Within the infant rind of this weak flower poison hath residence and medicine power, for this being smelt, with that part cheers each part. Being tasted, slays all senses with the heart. Two such opposed kings encamp them still in man as well as herbs, grace and rude will. And where the worser is predominant, full soon the canker death eats up that plant.
Good morrow, Father.
Benedicite! What early tongue so sweet saluteth me? Young son, it argues a distempered head so soon to bid good morrow to thy bed. Care keeps his watch at every old man's eye, and where care lodges, sleep will never lie. But where unbruised youth with unstuffed brain doth couch his limbs, there golden sleep doth reign. Therefore thy earliness doth me assure thou art uproused with some distemperature. Or if not so, then here I hit it right. Our Romeo hath not been in bed tonight.
So that's a very long quote for him, Friar Lawrence, just to say, wow, you're up early, Romeo. I'm guessing you didn't go to bed last night because you're up so early. And Romeo's going to say, you're right. I have not been in bed.
Tis true. The sweeter rest was mine.
God pardon sin. Wast thou with Rosaline?
With Rosaline, my ghostly father? No. I forgot that name, and that name's woe.
That's my good son. But where hast thou been?
Okay, so notice how Friar asked, um, were you with Rosalind because you seem so happy? And Friar remembers that Romeo was so sad because Rosalind didn't love him back. But Romeo's like, oh yeah, that girl? Oh, that was so yesterday. No, you're not up with the times. I mean, it was more than just yesterday. It was like yesterday afternoon that he was still in love with Rosalind. So Romeo seems to already have forgotten about Rosalind. And he was so depressed that Rosalind didn't love him back and that she wanted to be a nun. And now all of a sudden he's gonna ask Friar Lawrence to marry him to Juliet.
And
I'll tell thee ere thou ask it me again. I have been feasting with mine enemy, where on a sudden one hath wounded me, that's by me wounded. Both our remedies within thy help and holy physic lies. I bear no hatred, blessed man, for lo, my intercession likewise steads my foe.
be plain, good son, and homely in thy drift. Riddling confession finds but riddling shrift.
Then plainly know, my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet. As mine on hers, so hers is set on mine, and all combined, save what thou must combine by holy marriage. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow. I'll tell thee as we pass, but this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today.
Oh,
So he's saying, my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet, as mine on hers, and so her set on mine. And then he says, I hope you marry us today. And Friar's going to say, whoa, that's quick. What a change from just yesterday.
Saint Francis, what a change is here! Is Rosaline, that thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesu Maria, what a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! How much salt water thrown away in waste to season love that of it doth not taste! The sun not yet thy sighs from heaven clears, thy old groans ring yet in mine ancient ears. Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet. If e'er thou wast thyself, and these woes thine, thou and these woes were all for Rosaline, and art thou changed? Pronounce this sentence then. Women may fall when there's no strength in men.
Thou chid'st me oft for loving Rosaline,
For doting, not for loving, pupil mine.
and bad'st me bury love.
Not in a grave to lay one in, another out to have.
I pray thee chide not. She whom I love now doth grace for grace and love for love allow. The other did not so.
Oh, she knew well thy love did read by rote that could not spell. But come, young waverer, come, go with me. In one respect I'll thy assistant be, for this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancour to pure love.
Oh, let us hence. I stand on sudden haste.
Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast.
Friar Lawrence says, just yesterday you were crying for Rosalind, and you were crying so recently that I can still hear your cries in my ears. So he says, that's kind of quick, the change. But then Friar Lawrence just as quickly says, well, you know what? I'll marry you anyways, even though it's super quick. So I don't quite understand why Friar Lawrence will agree to marry them, but he says he wants to try to, with this love, bring their households together. So Friar hopes that, and I'm just going to call them R plus J's, love will stop the family's feud. Oh, you can't see that. So Friar hopes that Romeo and Juliet's love will stop the family's feud. So rancor means hatred. I haven't mentioned this yet, but make sure that you are reading these definitions that are in the margins. You'll notice a little number here, and that number corresponds with the definition of that word. And it just really helps you understand what it is they're saying while we're reading it. And then Fryer says a really important quote. He says, you got to go wisely and slow. If you go too fast, you'll stumble. Yet, why would the friar agree to marry them if he's saying you should go wisely and slow? You'll stumble if you run fast. So it seems like he's going against his own advice. It's good advice, but Friar Lawrence is going against it. So meanwhile, Mercutio and Benvolio. So while Romeo is going with the friar and asking the friar for to marry to Juliet, Mercutio and Benvolio are hanging out in the streets of Verona and just kind of talking about what's going on, talking about like, where's Romeo, talking about Tybalt and the fact that Tybalt has, sent a letter to the Montague house to say, basically challenge Romeo in a duel. And a duel means that if you fight to the death. And because Tybalt is mad that Romeo crashed the party at the Capulets. Remember how he was like, oh, I want to hurt you, Romeo, and Capulet said, not in my party, you can't. Well, Tybalt hasn't forgotten, and now he wants to duel Romeo. But of course, Romeo doesn't care because Romeo's a lover, not a fighter. So Mercutio, though, he is thinking Romeo will definitely duel Tybalt.
Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home last night?
Not to his father's. I spoke with his man.
Oh, why, that same pale, hard-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad.
Tybalt, the kinsman to old Capulet, hath sent a letter to his father's house.
A challenge on my life.
Romeo will answer it.
Any man that can write may answer a letter.
Nay, he will answer the letter's master. How he dares being dared.
Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead. Stabbed with a white wench's black eye. Shot through the ear with a love song. The very pin of his heart cleft with the blind bowboy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt?
Why? What is...
So Mercutio says Romeo is too love struck to fight Tybalt. Sorry, I think I got this mixed up. So Romeo is too love struck to fight Tybalt. That's what Mercutio is saying. But Benvolio is saying, no, Romeo will fight Tybalt. Are you kidding? He won't back down on a fight.
Tybalt?
More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you. Oh, he's the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song. He keeps time, distance, and proportion. Rests me his minim rest, 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. The very butcher of a silk button, a duelist, a gentleman of the very first house, of the first and second cause. Ah, the immortal passato, the punto reverso, the hey, ah!
The what?
The pox of such antic lisping, affecting fantasticos, these new tuner of accent. By Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. Why, is not this a lamentable thing, grandsir, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion mongers, these pardon-moi, who stand so much on the new form that they cannot sit at ease on the old bench. Oh, they're bones, they're bones.
Here comes Romeo. Here comes Romeo.
Without his roe like a dried herring.
Good morrow to you both.
Oh, flesh, how art thou fishified? Now is he for the numbers that Petrarch flowed in. Laura to his lady was but a kitchen wench. Mary, she had a better love to berhyme her. Dido, a dowdy. Cleopatra, a gypsy. Helen and Hero, Hildings and harlots. Thisbe a grey or so, but not to the purpose. Seigneur, Romeo, bonjour. There's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night.
What counterfeit did I give you?
The slip, sir, the slip. Can you not conceive?
Pardon, good Mercutio, my business was great, and in such a case as mine, a man may strain courtesy.
That's as much as to say such a case as yours constrains a man to bow in the ham.
Meaning to curtsy?
Thou hast most kindly hit it.
A most courteous exposition.
Nay, I am the very pink of courtesy.
Pink for flower?
Right.
Why, then, is my pump well flowered? There, upon my foot, sir.
Oh, well said. Follow me this jest now till thou hast worn out thy pump, that, when the single soul of it is worn, the jest may remain after the wearing solely singular.
Oh, single soul jest solely singular for the singleness.
Come between us, good Benvolio, my wits faint.
Swits and spurs, or I'll cry a match.
Nay, if our wits run the wild goose chase, I am done. For thou hast more of the wild goose in one of thy wits than I am sure I have in my whole 5. Was I with you there for the goose?
Thou was never with me for anything when thou was not there for the goose.
I will bite thee by the ear for that jest.
Oh, nay, good goose. Ow! Bite not!
Thy wit is a very bitter sweeting. It is a most sharp sauce.
And is it not, then, well served into a sweet goose?
Oh, here's a wit of Cheverel that stretches from an inch narrow to an L broad.
I stretch it out for that word broad, which, added to the goose, proves thee far and wide a broad goose.
Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this shriveling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in the hole.
Okay. Mercutio's saying Romeo seems more like himself. What they were doing in the lines right before this, oh, sorry, my big head's in the way. What they were doing in the lines right before this were going back and forth with some wordplay. And that was something that noblemen did, people of high intelligence, of high class. They would kind of show off their intelligence and therefore their superiority of others by practicing in wordplay. So Mercutio is saying that Romeo seems more like himself, and that it's good that Romeo's kind of gotten over that love sickness that made him seem like an idiot. And that's what he's saying here, that runs like an idiot, trying to find his toy.
There.
Oh, thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair.
Thou would else have made thy tail large.
Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tale, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Here's goodly gear.
Oh, a sail.
Two. A shirt and a smock.
Peter!
Anon.
My fan, Peter!
Good Peter to hide her face, for her fan's the fairer face of the two.
Fan, nurse.
Thank you, Peter. God ye good morrow, gentlemen.
God ye good day, fair gentlewoman.
Is it good day?
'Tis no less, I tell ye, for the body hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Out upon you!
Oh!
What a man are you!
One gentlewoman that God hath made for himself to mar.
By my troth, it's well said for himself to mark, won't he?
Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo?
I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you have found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of a worse.
You say well.
Yea, is the worst? Well, very well took in faith. Wisely, wisely.
If you be he, sir, I desire some confidence with you.
She will indict him to some supper.
Aboard, 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 so!
Oh, what hast thou found, Mercutio?
No hare, sir, unless a hare, sir, in a Lenten pie that is something stale and whore ere it be spent. Oh, an old hare whore and an old hare whore is very good meat in Lent, but a hare that is whore is too much for a score when it whores ere it be spent. Romeo, will you come to your father's? We'll to dinner thither.
I will follow you.
Farewell, ancient lady. Farewell, lady, lady, lady. Come, Benvolio.
Marry, farewell! I pray you, sir, what saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery?
A gentleman, nurse, that loves to hear himself talk, and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month.
And he speak anything against me, I'll take him down. And he were lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks. And if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurvy knave, I'm none of his flirt-jills. I'm none of his skeins mates. And thou, Peter, must stand by too and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure.
I saw no man use you at his pleasure. If I had, my weapon should quickly have been out, I warrant you. I dare draw as soon as another man if I see occasion in a good quarrel. And the law is on my side.
No, afore God, I'm so vexed that every part of me quivers. Scurvy knave, Peter! Ow! Oh. Pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bid me inquire you out. What she bid me say, I will keep to myself. But first, let me tell ye, if ye should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behavior, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing.
Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee.
Good heart, and if faith, I will tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she'll be a joyful woman.
Wait, what wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me.
I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer.
Nay, bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall, at Friar Lawrence's cell, be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains.
No, truly. Sir, not a penny.
Go to, I say you shall.
Oh, well, this afternoon, sir. Well, she shall be there.
And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high topgallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell. Be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell. Commend me to thy mistress.
Now God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir.
What sayest thou, my dear nurse?
Is your man secret? Did you ne'er hear say two may keep counsel, putting one away?
I warrant thee my man's as true as steel.
Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard, but she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. I anger her sometimes. I tell her that Paris is the properer man, but I'll warrant you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any cloud in the universal world. Doth not Rosemary and Romeo begin both with a letter?
Aye, nurse, what of that? Both with an R.
Ah, mocker, that's the dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with some other letter. And she hath the prettiest sententious of it, of you and Rosemary, that it would do you good to hear it.
Commend me to thy lady. Farewell.
Aye, 1,000 times. Peter!
Anon,
Peter, take my fan and go before.
anon.
And a...
So Romeo and the nurse made the plans that they're going to get married at Friar Lawrence's cell. And then that night, Romeo is going to sneak to Juliet's chamber, to Juliet's room. And that's what this rope ladder is all about. And he is going to spend the night with Juliet, their wedding night together. So that's what's going on. So the very next day, Romeo and Juliet are going to get married. And then that night, they're going to spend their wedding night together. So Capulet's orchard is where Juliet is going to find out that Romeo found a way for them to get married that day. And at first, the nurse is going to kind of mock her and pretend like she doesn't know, and then finally tell Juliet what Romeo told her. And then the next act is where they get married. Sorry, the next scene is where they get married.
The clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return. Perchance she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love's heralds should be thoughts, which 10 times faster glide than the sun's beams, driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimble-pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind-swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 till 12 is 3 long hours, yet she is not come. Had she affections and warm youthful blood, she would be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But old folks, many feign as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as lead. Oh, God, she comes. Oh, honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away.
Peter, stay at the gate.
Anon.
Now, good sweet nurse.
Oh,
Lord, why look'st thou sad? Though news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good, thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face.
I am weary. Give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache.
Oh, sit, nurse.
What a chance have I had?
I would thou hadst my bones and I thy news. Nay, come, I pray thee, speak. Good nurse, speak.
Jesu, what haste! Can you not stay a while? Do you not see that I'm out of breath?
How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or bad?
Well, you've made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo? No, not he. Though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they're past compare. He's not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench. Serve God. What, have you dined at home?
No, but all this did I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that?
Lord, how my head aches. What a head have I. It beats as it would fall in 20 pieces. Oh, my back.
Here, nurse.
Oh, the other side. Ah, my back. Beshrew your heart for sending me about to catch my death with jouncing up and down.
Faith, I am sorry that thou art not well. Sweet nurse, tell me, what says my love?
Your love says, like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where is your mother?
Where is my mother? Why, she is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest. Your love says, like an honest gentleman, where is your mother?
Oh, God's lady, dear, are you so hot? Mary, come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for my aching bones? Henceforth, do your messages yourself.
Here's such a coil. Come, what says Romeo?
Have you got leave to go to shrift today?
I have.
Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence's cell. There stays a husband to make you a wife.
Oh, nurse.
Ah, now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be in scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church. I must. Another way, to fetch a ladder, by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it is dark. I am the drudge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Go, I'll to dinner. Hie you to the cell.
Hie to high fortune. Honest nurse, farewell.
So smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours with sorrow chide us not.
Amen, amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love-devouring death do what he dare. It is enough I may but call her mine.
These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore love moderately, long love doth so. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow. Here comes the lady. Oh, so light a foot will ne'er wear out the everlasting flint. A lover may bestride the gossamer that idles in the wanton summer air, and yet not fall. So light is vanity.
Good even to my ghostly confessor.
Romeo shall thank thee, daughter, for us both.
As much to him, else is his thanks too much.
Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, and that thy skill be more to blazon it, then sweeten with thy breath this neighbor air, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter.
Conceit, more rich in matter than in words, brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth. But my true love is grown to such excess I cannot sum up some of half my wealth.
Come with me, and we will make short work. For by your leaves you shall not stay alone till Holy Church incorporate two in one.
The end of that act. So Romeo and Juliet are now married, and we will see what happens after they get married in Act 3. We are going to, you want to make sure that you answer these comprehension check questions. There are 5, so you know all 5 questions are going to be on the quiz that you will have next week. So if you take the time to answer them now, you can use these answers when you take the quiz. So I would recommend you do that now, so you're prepared for the quiz. I will see you in class. Goodbye.